Good evening. This is Mark Meckler here with the BattleCry. Glad you're with me. I got to mention it immediately because you might notice that's not the library. And there's no dog behind me because I'm not at home because weather. The Mecklers have been having trouble with weather lately. You might notice this. So last week, Texas was cold as the Arctic, and we lost our power and we lost our water, and things were totally insane. So this week we've been traveling a little bit, and Patty and I headed out to West Virginia for a wedding, which was incredible. One of our closest friends in the world, Rita, got married. It was just a beautiful ceremony at a beautiful place. Bunch of great people. It's just great to see people in love and families coming together. Really positive stuff. It was a little bit rainy there. And when we left, we were at the Greenbrier Hotel. And when we left, we went to Roanoke. Roanoke, Virginia is where we're flying out of, kind of a small regional airport. Got to the airport, everything looked cool, no problem, no rain, a little bit of low overcast. And then the flight was delayed and delayed and delayed. And then they told us that there was no way we were going to make our connection in Atlanta because we were planning on being home this afternoon at 4:30. So I called up Delta and tried to juggle and wiggle and wrangle and not getting home tonight. Just not getting home tonight. So we, adopt, you act, you learn, you adjust, you improvise. And so we went to pull our luggage, went to the rental car counter, got a new rental car. We had just turned one in, and we drove the 3.5 hours to Arlington, Virginia. And so here I am in my son Jacob's apartment here in Arlington, Virginia, of all places that I didn't expect to be tonight. Pretty funny because yesterday when we were driving, we had landed in Roanoke. We were driving out to the place where the wedding was being held. And I talked to my son on the phone, and he was giving me a hard time because I had come into Virginia and I wasn't going to visit him. And I told him, man, I'm 3.5 hours away, dude. Like, it's not like an easy visit from 3.5 hours. And, he was just joking around and giving me a hard time. But lo and behold, here we are 2 nights later or 1 night later. And we're actually here in Arlington, Virginia, and we're stuck right now. So we're flying home tomorrow morning. So that's just the way it goes. All right, so we're going to go do some news. We're going to talk about stuff that's going on in my life, maybe some stuff going on in your lives. One of the things I really want is to get a lot of good questions. You guys know I love the questions more than the comments. I appreciate all the support and all that. There's lots of stuff going on. You guys can comment on the news. You can ask me questions about the news. You can ask me questions about COS. You can ask me questions about Parler. You can ask me questions about, I was going to say like sports, but I don't really follow sports all that much. I don't know. Ask me questions about whatever you want. I'll do the best I can to answer. Also, you might notice I got some new Defender gear on. You like this? Sons of Liberty. Like the hat? I love these new hats. Check these hats out. This is really cool new hat from Defender Gear. You can get this stuff on Defender Gear's website, defender-gear.com. Joe Markowitz and the team over there, really cool folks. They support liberty. They support freedom. They support law enforcement. They're people of faith. Great company, defender-gear.com. If you go there, and you use the code COS Action 10, COS Action 10, all caps, you're going to get 10% off on any of this cool gear. So I pretty much dumped all the other stuff I used to wear, t-shirts and hats and stuff like that, and I'm a Defender gear guy. So you'll see a lot more of it. You'll know where it comes from. You can get your deal. All right, I'm going to go to the serious stuff first, the really, really serious stuff, because I'm going to talk to you about woke cancel culture. And it has affected somebody that is near and dear to me, somebody that I've loved and admired almost my whole life. And it's really a difficult story for me to talk about, without getting kind of emotional about it. And that is, they tried to cancel, it's unbelievable. They tried to cancel Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. I'm not kidding you. Like they said, Hasbro said they were going to cancel Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head because apparently it's not cool to be Mr. and Mrs. anymore. The Potato Heads. Those folks, those are just good all-American folks. What's more all-American than Idaho Spud, right? The Potato Heads. Can you imagine all the service that Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head have done for America over the years for America's kids? They were going to cancel Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. But you know what? They didn't end up doing it. You know why? Because you spoke up. Good red-blooded Americans spoke up for Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, said, we love Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. We admire them. I think Mr. Potato Head, like he won some medals in one of the wars. I don't know. These guys are serious red-blooded Americans. This is what America's all about, right? Spuds, the Potato Head family. So they didn't cancel the Potato Heads after all. But I think in all seriousness, there is a lesson in this. When the woke come gunning for people or toys or potatoes, as the case may be, if we fight back, we win. The woke are the minority. There are a limited amount of crazy people screaming into the wilderness, screaming at these corporations, and we just have to push back louder and harder and more ferociously. We saved the potato heads today, and so count one for the good guys. For those of you, I don't know if you wrote in defense of the potato heads. I mean, I think I need to get a potato head shirt or something to stand for Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. Maybe we can get Defender Gear to do something like that. But I'm just really glad. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of Americans for saving Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. That's serious news, right? I said I was having serious news for you. All right. This actually serious news, and that is anti-lockdown protests are spreading around the world. And we now have anti-lockdown protests in Ireland and in Denmark, and they're turning violent. I mean, this is pretty wild, right? Because we thought that those people were democratic socialists, right? They got it all figured out, all love and peace, and everybody gets what they want from the government, and they do anything the government tells them to do. Apparently, it's not working out so well. Because you know why? Because in Ireland and in Denmark and in America and in Germany and wherever you're talking about, people are people. And you know what people crave? Freedom. Just regular people, wherever they are. They want to be free. They want to live their lives. They don't want the government telling them what to do. That's just how people are. It doesn't matter what country you're from. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what religion you practice or no religion. People want to be free to live their lives. And when the governments clamp down on that, like they've done here in the US, like they've done all over the world, even in Ireland and Denmark, which we think of as just these sweet little socialist places, people are pissed off. And people have every right to be pissed off. I'll tell you, every time I have to put on one of those damn masks, I'm angry about it. You know, Ben Shapiro's been kind of a big mask guy. Like he's sort of pro-mask, not in an unreasonable way, but just in a rational way, in my opinion. And even he says now, hell no. You got Fauci saying we're probably going to have to wear masks until the end of the year. You got him saying we're going to have to wear masks after everybody's vaccinated. And Shapiro just said, no, that's not happening. I'm not doing it. My family's not doing it. We're going to start going out to ball games. We're going to start going out to the theater. And that's what we all need to do. I was traveling today, and traveling's always kind of difficult, no matter what. It's not fun. It's not easy. Lots of friction. With these damn masks, it's way worse. It's a friggin' mess. And by the time you wear your mask all day, I really feel for those of you that got to wear them at work all day. I don't know how you do it. I kind of feel sick and woozy by the end of the day when I'm traveling, because you got to wear them in the airports. You got to wear them on the planes. You got to wear them even if you stop in a restaurant. And the only exception is when you're eating. You should see my wife nurse a single goldfish cracker. If you make them last long enough, right? Am I kidding? I'm right. Patty's taught me this today, the fine art of eating and drinking very slowly so you can keep your mask off. So we had to wear them today. I have a mask. I should have brought it over here so I could show it to you. I have a mask that actually says on it, it says worn by force and not by fear. And when I wear it around, I always get people comment on it. Nobody's ever given me a negative comment. I get people who make positive comments on my mask. And so today I was wearing it as I was checking in the airport in Roanoke. I came through the line and I ended up with a TSA agent, and he said, "I love your mask." And I said, "I appreciate that, man. Look, I just think these things are BS, and I think the whole thing's ridiculous." He said, "So do I." Now, these guys, by the way, have to wear masks and face shields and gloves. And he said, I'm just quoting him. He said, "All of this thing, I just think they do it because they like the control. And I think they're trying to see how far they can push us and how long they can control us until people snap, because they're just trying to get us used to total government control." And I agree with that. I mean, by now we know the science is in. The science says mostly the masks don't make any difference, right? Everybody wears them wrong. If you go to medical school, if you go to dental school, something like that, you take a semester of how to use PPE, the personal protective equipment, and none of us use them right. How long have you used your mask for? Weeks, maybe? I use the same one over and over. You know how unsanitary that is in a viral sense? You put a big viral load in that, you carry around, put it in your pocket, you set it down on tables, you set it down in your car, you move it from pocket to pocket. It's just, It's hilarious. All we're doing, if there is a viral load on you, you're spreading that viral load around. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So the science is in, the masks don't work. This is ridiculous. Again, I'm going to go back to my original position though. If you're in a vulnerable position, if you're of a certain age group, if you have other pre-existing conditions, you got to be careful. You might want to wear a mask, but you should learn how to do it properly. You should wear a clean one regularly. You should throw the old ones away or clean them off according to the medical professionals' recommendations. But right now, it's just a circus. It's a sideshow. I think we're pretty close to herd immunity at this point. I think most, if you look at the numbers and you talk to epidemiologists, I talk to actual doctors about this stuff. They're telling you we are either at or very close to herd immunity. I was listening to a doctor last night on Fox News saying that he expects herd immunity by April at the latest, based on vaccinations and based on T cell counts. Just that people are immune. They have you carry these T cell reactions to the disease, and that gives you a form of immunity. So we're getting there. And by the way, that's good news. We should be really excited about that. You got some people in the media play it like they want us to be sick for a long period of time. They want us to continue to be locked down. They want the businesses to continue to be shut down. I'm not a fan. I saw Kristi Noem speak at CPAC yesterday, and Kristi is obviously the governor of South Dakota. You know what state? One state and only one state had 0 lockdowns? South Dakota. They never made anybody wear masks. They never had a shelter-in-place order. They never told which businesses were essential or non-essential. Governor Noem said, I don't understand how a governor has the right to tell you your business isn't essential. So they never shut down. They never imposed mask mandates. They never did any government control. She said, I gave the people of South Dakota the information they needed to make their own decisions, and they did. And by the way, South Dakota has done just fine through the pandemic. And if you look at Florida, where Florida is not locked down, but California's numbers, not very different, right? So it's not about lockdowns. It's not about mask wearing. It's not. And we mostly still don't really understand this disease. And mostly we're going to get it in hand, not understanding it all that well. What we have done is we've done the fastest vaccine development in human history. And this is literally a medical miracle, from disease, discovery of disease, to full-blown vaccine in 9 months. That is absolutely extraordinary. We've gotten really good at treating the disease. We should be excited by this. There's all kinds of therapeutics now to treat the disease. The death rate has plummeted. The infection rate down 60 to 70% in the last 6 weeks. We're getting this thing under control. And the deal is, you should be excited about it. We don't need trillions more in spending to fight it. It's just time to go back to our lives. It's time to get over it. And I know you guys feel the same way I do, but sometimes I just absolutely need to vent on this. It's just so ridiculous. Here's another thing. I kind of flowed into this automatically without meaning to. $1.9 trillion in quote unquote COVID stimulus. Incredible, because COVID stimulus apparently involves $50 million for killing babies at Planned Parenthood. How does that work? Like, how does that have anything to do with COVID? I don't understand this. I think it's $180 billion for schools to be spent over the next 6 years. How does that work? I mean, we just need to get our damn schools opened up. Most of it will not make it to the schools in the school year. By the way, there's still $1 trillion appropriated from the last COVID bill, just kind of floating around out there, hasn't been spent yet. This is nothing but pork barrel spending for radical leftist causes. Unions getting pension fund bailouts. Blue states, blue cities getting bailouts for their terrible policies, for shutting down when those shutdowns did nothing good for anybody. This is nothing but disgusting, vile, overwhelming pork barrel spending. These people don't give a damn about you. They don't give a damn about the country, and they certainly don't give a damn about our kids and our grandkids and our great-great-great-great-grandkids that are going to be paying these bills forever, because they're just loading them up with debt. The founder said this kind of debt, this intergenerational debt, was immoral. Today, the politicians don't seem to give a damn about that. And now they're trying to tie a $15 minimum wage to this. How does this work? Does anybody in Congress understand how small business works? I've been a small business owner on and off most of my life. $15 minimum wage, you're going to kill small business, and you're going to keep young people out of the workforce. Because no young people out there, generally speaking, if you're 16 years old, you're just going to work, you're not worth $15 an hour. And why would I hire a kid for 15 bucks an hour when I can hire an adult at 15 bucks an hour? So what we're doing is we're stifling our young. We're keeping entry-level people out of the workforce. We're crippling businesses that can't afford to pay this. This is the stupidity of Washington, D.C. politics. And you wonder why I continue to push for a convention of states. Maybe you don't wonder. Maybe you've been listening long enough. You understand. We got to take the power away from the folks in Washington, D.C., and we got to give it back to the people in the states. You know what's really funny? Over the last week, there have been 2 hit pieces on me. And one of the hit pieces said, I am Mark Meckler, the radical. I am the most radical of radicals. I am radically radical. The number of times they used radical in here and right wing together, it's incredible. I was the radical right wing Tea Party guy. I'm the radical right wing guy that is doing radical right wing things with the Constitution. I'm just rad, man. I'm so radical. And so that's one article. And then the other article says, I'm a tool of George Soros and the maybe I'm still radical either way, right? But I mean, you could tell these are hit pieces, right? Because you got people on one side saying, I'm just so radically right wing. By the way, that's Common Cause. It's an organization called Common Dreams, Common Cause, Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, and hundreds, literally, of left-wing groups saying that I'm a right-wing radical. And then you got these crazy, and I do mean crazy, fringe right-wing people saying I'm a tool of Soros. Wait, I'm a little confused. Let me think about this. I got to do the math, right? All these Soros groups are writing articles attacking me, right? They're putting lobbyists in the legislature saying that Convention of States is a horrible right-wing idea. And then there are these weirdos on the fringe right saying that I am somehow a tool of the radical left. That's the kind of week it's been. I'm just saying. So you got to know that you're over the target when the crazies on the right and the crazies on the left are both attacking you. Because who do I stand with? You. The middle of America, the mainstream of America, common sense Americans that say we got to do something. That the crazy Marxists have taken over Washington, D.C., that Washington, D.C. will never voluntarily give us our power back, and so that we have to take that power back ourselves. That's who I stand with. That's you, right? That's me. That's where we stand. All right. Let's see. Hellhole Portland. Portland is a hellhole. Used to be a beautiful city. I used to love to go to visit Portland. We lived in Northern California. Me and Patty and the kids and the dogs, we'd load up in the motorhome. We'd head up the North Coast. We'd love to stop in Portland. Like, it just was a cool place. Now, it's a hellhole. Thank you, leftist America. This weekend, Saturday, there were riots and there were violence going on and smashing of windows and destroying businesses. And you know what the police did about it? It was awesome. They just came in force. They shut it all down. They arrested the transgressors. Did that happen? No, that didn't happen. That did not happen. You know why it didn't happen? Because there's so many damn shootings in Portland right now. The police were too busy responding to the shootings. This is what happens when you have a city that just neglects, gives up on, goes away from law and order. Like, shut the police down, right? All police are bad. And so this is what happens. They couldn't even respond to this massive property destruction, threats, riots. They could not respond because too many shootings. Welcome to the future of America run by the radical left. That is hellhole Portland. If you live in Portland now, I'm just telling you, it's either up to you. Fix your government or get the hell out of the hellhole. And just go away from all these leftist cities, because they're all turning into this kind of hellhole because they hate the police, they hate law and order, and frankly, to be blunt, they hate the folks who are suffering the most. And these are the people in inner cities where the crime is the worst, where the police can't effectively respond anymore. This is what the left is doing to America. If you want to know what the rest of America is going to look like, look at Portland. Look at what happened in Seattle with the Chaz, right? The Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, where they let these radical rioters, looters, killers, drug dealers take over. That's what the left wants to bring to all of your cities. Completely disgusting. All right, let's talk a little bit about COS. What's going on this week? Way too much. It's crazy. It's a good week. By the way, I think it was last week or the week before, we had a great subcommittee win in Iowa. Really excited about that. Kind of just happened out of the blue. Jacked up to be winning in Iowa. We've got committee hearings coming up here shortly in, let me address, we did have a loss. I was in South Dakota. Went there. The win was the number of grassroots that showed up bigger than ever. I love you guys. Come rain, come shine, come 20 below, you guys show up. We packed the legislature. We went in, looked like we were going to come out of committee, and we had one guy turn on us. One guy. At the last minute, a guy that we never thought would turn on us. I don't know what happened. I suspect some shenanigans behind the scenes. We're going to dig in and we'll figure it out, and we'll give you the clue how to fix it. Close vote. I never mind losing a close vote like that. We know who our friends and our enemies are. All good. All right, moving forward this week. Looks like we're going to have a committee hearing in West Virginia. That'll be remote. I'll probably be testifying remotely, kind of like this. We look really good in West Virginia. We have the support of the speaker, and the legislature is now supermajority in both houses Republican. It looks really, really good in West Virginia. We're also moving forward in Wyoming, looking really strong in Wyoming. This is a W week. West Virginia, Wyoming. I'm going to be, hopefully, I think, going to Wyoming as well. I'm going to have to really get around. I'm in DC or Arlington right now. We'll go to Wyoming. We'll appear in West Virginia remotely. And then Wisconsin. And Wisconsin looks great. We got support of leadership in the Senate. Senate President has been an Article 5 guy for a long. Kathy Bernier is our Senate sponsor. She came out of the House where she sponsored. Really strong sponsor, really smart. So her and Kappinga, Bernier and Kappinga, two experts on Article 5. So things I think look really good over there in the House. Dan Knodel is our sponsor. Fantastic guy, been our sponsor for a long time. I think we're looking pretty good in the House too. I think we look good. The W's might lead the way. We could go WWW, right? The worldwide wrestling. I don't know. Worldwide winning for COS. I think it's going to be a really good week for COS. I'm really excited about that. A lot of other stuff going on out there for COS. It's just busy right now. There's just more than you could possibly imagine, more than I can possibly keep up with, all over the country. All right, Catherine, I'm going to go to questions here. Catherine Del Conte asked, what's the latest with West Virginia? I think I just told you. They could be number 16, but I don't know. Maybe Wyoming, maybe Wisconsin. Jordan Mell asks, are legislators doing anything to protect election integrity in 2022 or 24? I think a lot's being done, Jordan, and a lot of you guys are engaged. So get with your local teams, your state teams there. Find out what's being done in your legislature. Make sure you support it. It is being done all over the country. The results remain to be seen. Will they stand strong? Because you know they're going to be called racist and blah, blah, blah. If they just try to get rid of mail-in voting and all the bad stuff that's going on, they need voter ID. They need to get rid of mail-in voting. They need to get rid of same-day registration. Will they stand strong? I think part of that's up to you guys. All right, Debbie Moore says, is there actually a legit investigation into voter fraud in progress? Debbie, my guess is no. I don't really think there is. Pam Besso-Sicca says, congrats on the gig at Parler, Mark. Thank you very much. It's wild. Edna Kruger says, is there any censoring on Parler? And the answer is, yeah, absolutely. There's censoring on Parler to the extent of if it's illegal, you can't do it on Parler. Period. End of story. Anything illegal, that would include actual legally defined incitement, any actual legal threats of violence, any actual illegality around other things that would be illegal, selling drugs, contraband, all that kind of stuff, all censored on Parler, as it has to be and should be on any platform. Our standard on Parler is free speech. If you can say it in the town square, you can say it on Parler. And by the way, we also believe that there's a corollary to that, which means if you don't want to hear it, you shouldn't have to hear it. The First Amendment doesn't mean you have to listen to other people say horrible stuff. So Parler provides you with the filters you want to block out content that's NSFW, not safe for work stuff, or content that you would find offensive. I'll tell you, there's offensive stuff on there. You can filter it out if you want. It's up to you what your feed looks like. It's your feed, your way. You follow the people that you want to follow. That's the only thing that shows up in your feed. There's no algorithm. There's none of that bad stuff that you see on all these other social media companies. They're not monetizing your data here. It's good stuff. All right, so that is hopefully that answers the questions about Parler. Margie Belpusi asks, what do you think of Trump's speech at CPAC? Margie, I was at a wedding, so I didn't get to watch it yet. So I will, but I can't really comment on it. Sharon Krell says, can pastors be protected from the so-called Equality Act? How do you think the Senate will handle this? Sharon, I'm hoping that the Senate refuses to pass the Equality Act. It's really dangerous for religious liberty. It would be a huge setback for religious liberty. I think it will be struck down in the courts as well. That's my hope anyway. But I'm hoping that guys like Manchin stand strong, and maybe a couple of other vulnerable Democrats stand strong in the Senate, and it doesn't pass. But I don't trust any of them, and I don't trust the courts. So it might take you and I, it might take civil resistance. Let's see. Karen Shadell Chapman says, Mark, there is some garbage out there about Soros making changes to the Constitution. Can you address how COS will not go wrong? Absolutely, Karen. You can find all this on our website, by the way. All of this runaway convention stuff is garbage. It's invented by the radical left. It was invented by the left to make foolish people on the right believe it so that they would work against our own interests. That history is all on our website. David Horowitz, the #1 researcher and chronicler of the American left, has written a whole piece on it. If you look up Horowitz at the Convention of States website, you'll see why this is a propaganda campaign by the radical left. Remember, every single commentator on the right in the United States of America who's a major nationally known figure that's commented on it is in favor of Convention of States. Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck, and on and on and on, right? All these folks. So are they all stupid? Have they all been duped by Soros? Maybe all of us are on the payroll of George Soros. I mean, this is literally what these idiots say about us. So there is no chance. All of these very smart people, way smarter than me, say there's no chance. Our legal advisory board, Mark Levin, Robbie George at Princeton, Randy Barnett at Georgetown, John Eastman, Rob Nadelson, Mike Ferris, all constitutional scholars, the highest level, national and renowned, all say it's ridiculous. So every now and then somebody will write to me and say, like, my uncle Mel was a law professor from 1975 at the University of Skokie, and he says you're wrong. It's like, well, you know what they say about opinions. Uncle Mel might be losing it. I don't know. But the reality is lots of smart people. Every nationally known scholar on the right says this is a good thing to do if they've commented on it. Let's see. Brian Klein says, what can we do about executive orders being forced down our throats and mandates and the mandates and regulations? Here's what we can do. The Republican attorneys general in the states have to push back on this. There's a new project being launched that's about to start. So watch for the Republican attorneys general all over the country to start pushing back against this stuff. Mark White says, any talk of another leadership summit for COS in 2022? There is talk. So I'm not going to let the secrets out of the bag yet. We haven't decided anything, Mark, but I would like to make it happen if we can. Ron West says, what are we supposed to do? Keep complaining on the internet? What would actually work to fix things? Yeah, we don't believe in complaining on the internet. We talk about it. We're happy warriors, and then we're actually calling a convention of states to take the power away from the federal government and then to give it back to the people in the states, right, in their state legislatures and to individual people. That's what we're actually doing something. So if you want to do something, go to conventionofstates.com and go there, fill out the petition, and then go to the Take Action tab at the top. Take action, sign up, and volunteer. All right. Let's see. Beverly Graham says, with the way Joe Biden is signing all these executive orders, is there still time for a COS? Beverly, there's always still time for the COS. I'm never going to give up hope, but I'll keep fighting in every other way also. That's why I'm at Parler leading the fight for free speech. I'm not doing just one thing. Convention of States, I think, is the most important thing we can do. Fight for freedom of speech is the most important fight also, because without freedom of speech, there's no Convention of States or anything else. If we don't push back on the big tech oligarchs, we're all in a lot of trouble. Darlene Mark says, any progress in Kansas? We do have good progress in Kansas. I'll probably have more on that next week. Not going to Kansas this week, but maybe the following week. Sandy Gregg says, what's happening in North Carolina? Also good progress in North Carolina. Great leadership support there. Things really changed after this last election. Jordy Bell, big fan. I'm really excited about it. We're working closely. He's our #2 sponsor. I think we're going to get it done in North Carolina and South Carolina this year. So things are going well. We have reached the bottom of the hour. Can you believe it? I talked my way through an entire hour. You guys have a lot of great questions, and I really appreciate that. That's what I like. Good questions, lots of good comments, but really love all the questions that you guys did. Let's close with this again. Remember, if you like the gear, right, Defender gear, if you like it, go to defender-gear.com, and then you're going to put in the code when you make your purchase, COS Action 10, and that's all caps. Maybe producer G will put it in the stream here. That's defender-gear.com. You check all caps COS. Get your own cool Defender gear. You can be a defender of the Constitution, a defender of liberty, defender of faith, defender of family, along with me, Mark Meckler, with the BattleCry, signing off, not from the library. Maybe we'll be back in the library next week. We'll see you there. God bless you guys. See you next week on the BattleCry.